How come ICE isn't chasing the white immigrants? How come ICE isn't chasing the immigrants from Russia, Poland, Europe? How come? It's not about race, it's not about skin, but here we are.
Oh yeah guys, welcome back to the channel and I hope you are all doing good. Many immigrants in America are questioning why immigration policies seem to impact some groups more than others. That is why in this video we are going to explore the conversation around why white immigrants aren't facing the same deportation threats and the irony that Donald Trump himself comes from an immigrant family. So guys, let's join in. I'll be coming back with more commentaries. Stay tuned.
If it isn't about racism, how come ICE isn't deporting white immigrants?
The irony is, of course, that Donald Trump is the son of an immigrant, the grandson of an immigrant, and married to an immigrant. In fact, 2 of his 3 wives were immigrants, proving yet again that immigrants will do the jobs that even Americans are not willing to do.
Donald Trump's grandfather, Friedrich Drumpf, came to this country from Bavaria, aka Germany, in 1885 as a 16-year-old draft dodger. He bought the one-way steamship ticket in order to avoid compulsory military service in his home country. That is an example that his grandson, Cadet Bone Spurs, would later follow to keep from serving in Vietnam. Among the jobs the teenage coward wound up doing here in America were working as a barber and allegedly as a pimp, running a saloon where he rented female prostitutes to gold prospectors, since he had failed as a gold prospector himself. He eventually invested in real estate in New York, married a fellow German, and tried to go home. But Germany stripped him of his citizenship for draft dodging, and he returned to the U.S. for good.
I'm just coming in from the side to say one thing. Every single thing is impacted by race. When you say it's not about race during an argument, you have completely lost me, because every single thing is influenced by race. If you do not think your experiences are influenced by race, it is because you view your racialized experience as the default. Everything is impacted, everything is influenced by race. Should race have been brought up in that conversation? I don't know, but the white people in the comments jumping in to say not everything is about race are pissing me off, because your reaction to him is impacted by race. The way you are taking his words are impacted by race. The fact that no one spoke to him before posting about it because they assumed he wouldn't do anything is influenced by race. That does not make you racist. Those are just innate biases that happen. We live in a racialized society. That is my take. Give creators credit. Don't download their videos if they don't want you to. Definitely don't post it on other platforms if they don't want you to. But do not sit here and say it's not about race to any black person. Everything is influenced by race. Also, someone's gonna say Americans are obsessed with race. I'm not American, find a different argument.
If you thought that the Trump family immigration story began and ended with Grandpa Drumpf, then you're in for a real treat. Buckle up, because today we're talking about Marianne McLeod Trump, Donnie T's mom, and spoiler alert, the mother of Build the Wall Dawn was quite literally a poor immigrant housemaid. She grew up in poverty as the youngest of 10 on a tiny island in Scotland. English was not her first language. In 1930, at just 18 years old, she boarded a boat and arrived in New York with just $50 in her pocket. She came to work as a domestic servant. If she had been working during that time without proper documentation, it would have been considered a violation of immigration law under the standards of today. And we even have documentation from a 1940 census that she herself filled out, stating that she is a naturalized U.S. citizen. However, records show that she didn't actually become a U.S. citizen until 1942. 12 years after her arrival. So yes, Donald Trump is not just the grandson of a draft-dodging German immigrant, he is also the son of a poor immigrant Scottish woman. If you're still with me, let's be absolutely clear about something. Being the child or grandchild of an immigrant is not the problem. Unless you're an indigenous Native American, then we are all immigrants. The issue is not immigration, it's the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy of building an entire political identity around demonizing immigrants. The hypocrisy of shouting, "Come the right way," while standing on a family history that likely wouldn't survive the very policies being pushed today.
Yeah, guys, even as we continue watching, America calls itself a nation of immigrants. But when you look at who actually faces deportation, you start to see a different story. Across America, many immigrants, especially from Latin America, Africa, and Asia, are asking one simple question: why does immigration enforcement seem to target people who don't look like traditional white Americans? So guys, let's get into the remaining clips. I'll be coming back with more commentaries to explain the irony.
To all the people posting about the ICE deportations, like they're on the side of empathy and everybody else is just evil, do you guys think that we enjoy seeing a non-violent immigrant's dreams crushed and they're crying because they're being deported back to their home country? No, we don't enjoy that. We just recognize that it's not empathetic to choose your position on an issue just based on what feels good and what sounds good. We have to track who is coming in and out of our country. They can come to our country, they just have to come in the right way because we need to know who these people are. An open border allows for not only criminals to come into our country, but open borders allow for more human trafficking. Open borders are the reason why tens of thousands of children went missing, largely due to human trafficking. Open borders are the reason why cases like Lake and Riley even were allowed to happen in the first place. There's a reason why other countries enforce their border, and we aren't the bad guys for enforcing our border and fixing problems that never should have happened in the first place.
Latinos for Trump, I need you to come up here front and center. And Puerto Ricans for Trump, I need to remind you that you are not safe. Just because you are a U.S. citizen does not mean ICE won't stop you and detain you. Now, first of all, I disagree with the Supreme Court. Just because I'm brown, you could stop me. Just because I speak Espanol, you could stop me. Or if I have a job like in a nursery or construction or just freaking cutting the grass, that you think you could stop and detain me. So I'm going to give you the reality of these ICE raids. There is 170 U.S. citizens that were detained by ICE. And ProPublica is the one tracking these cases. Now, I am quite sure that number is much higher than that. But we are talking about U.S. citizens that have been kicked, dragged, and detained for days. But I'm going to tell you, no human being deserves this just because they're trying to live in this country and make a better way. So F you, Trump, and anyone who supports this. Now, these citizens were detained through raids and rallies. More than 20 of them have reported being held over a day without being able to call their loved one or an attorney. And in some cases, their families couldn't find them. But let's get into deeper numbers because the Gestapo have arrested 130 Americans, including dozens elected officials, for allegedly interfering with or assaulting officers. But many of those cases were dropped because they were lying. And one of the things that really pissed me off is these ICE people that happen to be Latino, knowing that once they get all of us, they're probably next. You guys are fucking stupid as hell. I can't wait until we have a normal government and you get tried for crimes against humanity. And according to this article, Americans have been dragged, tackled, beaten, tased, and by immigration agents. They had their necks nailed on. And we know in the Chicago ICE raids, some of them did not have proper clothing, if they had clothing at all. 3 of them were pregnant when agents detained them. And one of those women had their door blown off. Out of the 170 U.S. citizens held, 20 of them were children. 2 of them had cancer. That includes 4 that was held for weeks with their undocumented mother and with access to the family's attorney until a congresswoman intervened. So they found that more than 50 Americans that were held after the agents questioned their citizenship, well, most of them were Latino. And believe it or not, immigration agents can also arrest citizens if they interfere with assaulting officers. So Latinos for Trump, do you think that this is okay? Should you be kicked, sprayed, or punched by these ICE officers just because you look Latino? Inquiring minds really want to know. Everybody have a great day except the Latino.
Oh yeah, guys, they have come to the conclusion of this video, and here is the irony. You know, even Donald Trump, the man who made immigration crackdown a key part of his political identity, comes from an immigrant family itself. Let's rewind this for a second. When we think of immigrants, we often picture people crossing borders from Mexico or refugees arriving from war-torn countries. But the first major waves of immigrants to America were white Europeans, Germans, the Irish, Italians, and yes, even Trump's family, who came from Germany and Scotland. Back then, immigration laws weren't colorblind. The United States openly favored European immigrants and restricted people from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So the system wasn't just about who came, it was about who was allowed to belong. Fast forward to today. When you look at ICE raids, deportations, or border wall rhetoric, who is being targeted? It's overwhelmingly black and brown immigrants. White immigrants, whether they overstay visas or arrive illegally from Europe or Canada, rarely face the same scrutiny or risk. Why? Because immigration in America has always been racialized. The face of the illegal immigrant in political debates isn't European, it's Mexican, it's African, or Middle Eastern. And when politicians talk about protecting American culture, what they often mean, even if they don't say it, is protecting white identity. So now let's talk about the man at the center of the conversation, that is Donald Trump. Trump's father, Fred Trump, was born in New York, but his grandfather, Frederick Trump, immigrated from Germany in the 1800s. Trump's mother, Mary Ann McLeod, was an immigrant too. She came from Scotland in 1930. Yes, so technically, Donald Trump is a second-generation American, born of two immigrant parents. And yet, under his administration, immigration enforcement became one of the most aggressive in modern history, separating families at the border and pushing for mass deportations. The irony isn't lost on anyone. An American-born son of immigrants leading a movement that vilifies other immigrants. So here is why the real question comes in. If America is truly equal under the law, why don't we see European immigrants being deported at the same rate as immigrants from Latin America? The answer just lies in how immigration is enforced, not just written. It's a reflection of who America views as one of us and who it sees as an outsider. When the immigrant is white, they are often seen as blending in. When they are not, they are seen as a threat. What does it say about America today? This is not just about Trump or his policies. It's about a system that has always treated whiteness as the default for belonging. If we are serious about immigration reform, we can't just talk about border walls or visa overstays. We have to talk about bias, privilege, and history, and who benefits from them. Yes, because at the end of the day, if America truly believes it's a nation of immigrants, then every immigrant deserves equal treatment, regardless of color or country or of origin. Yeah, so what do you think, guys? Is immigration enforcement in America really about legality, or is it about race? Drop your thoughts in the comments, guys. And if you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into politics, race, and social justice. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of this video. This video is meant for educational purposes, commentary purposes as well. Be blessed. Kindly hit that subscription button, like the video, and also share this video for it to get to a wider audience, and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much. Give this video a thumbs up. Be blessed.